Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to what is going to be the chess tutorial, the multiplayer chess tutorial, in which we are going to make a multiplayer chess tutorial without using the UNet, without using any third-party multiplayer Unity. We're going to be using raw C# socket, and that is really cool because you get to learn how it's actually made, how it actually works, without having some kind of third party with super high level calls, and then you just don't really know what's going on. So in this first episode, we're gonna just lay down the board, just generate the pieces on top of it, as you can see right here. And we grabbed those model off my website. They're free. Everything is pretty much free here. So we just go there, we grab this, we do our little script here that does the generation of the board. And that is what we're gonna do today, guys. And without further ado, let's get right into it.
Coding your own games is easier than you think. You know, you should take this online Unity course.
Alright, so let's talk a little bit about the spec of the project. We're not going to be using UNet for Unity, we're not going to be using Photon or any third-party multiplayer. We're going to be using raw C# sockets, raw C# TCP sockets actually. And the reason I want to do this is just to have a good understanding at what is really at the base of this. And also, since we're not using UNet and we're not using like any third party for Unity, then the server we're going to be making is actually portable on something else. So you could be making it in Visual Studio and running it on a Linux, who knows. So you have a lot of options here, and I think it's actually a really good thing to do, a really good exercise to just practice with those TCP sockets instead of just using something else that is higher level. Then you get to understand really how it works in the back end, and that's really useful for later on if you wish to just scale up your project or make, you know, an actual bigger multiplayer game. Alright, so without further ado, let's get right into making the game. Now, I've made some little assets here. I made some little art that you can download off the website. That's free, so it's supposed to be the first one here. Check your asset. You download that by clicking on download, and I'm going to be using these things here that I've made instead of my Unity project. So I've got them in my clipboard. I'm simply going to paste this and extract. Inside of the little art pack, there is a few things. There is, I think, 4 models, 1 material, and also 1 texture. Let's quickly have a look at those. It is some basic stuff, so say a white piece, a border, a board, and also a black piece. They're all using the same exact material. We have to assign the texture first. Then you just drag and drop that on every single little piece. And that is going to be the first thing we'll do, guys. So we'll just get our models out there, just get our things ready to work with. And what I'm going to do now is just let's actually start by making the game itself without really thinking about the multiplayer part too much. We're just going to be making the game, and we'll just make sure that it works, basically. Okay, so the first step I always take when I create a new project is just to get everything sorted out here. So I have all of these, which is kind of a mess right now. I'll store everything in a folder called artwork. Just put everything in there, and then what I'll do is I'll just create another folder. This is going to be for the prefabs. This one is for the scene, and another one for script. Now I'm going to take the white piece, drag and drop it inside of the prefab folder. Same thing for the black piece, and now we can remove them off the board. We now have a reference to those, and here they are. Right. So as soon as we have that, we should actually start tackling, like I said, the usual just game mechanic without really thinking about the multiplayer part of it too much. Alright, so at this point we need some kind of controller for the scene. We need some kind of script that is going to contain a lot of logic on it, such as, okay, we just end the turn, okay, we're just starting a new turn, we should instantiate pieces, we should move pieces, and what I'll do is I'll actually put it on the board. The board is going to be like the game manager of this scene, we could say. So on the board, I'll create a new checkers board script, which we are going to open and quickly define few fields that we might need. So what we're going to need in here is an array of pieces, actually a 2-dimensional array of pieces. And the array should be, if we just count the tile, that is going to be 8 by 8. Now we don't really have a definition for pieces, so we should actually create that really quickly. Right here, I'll create a new C# script and just call this piece. Now back in my checkerboard, I can actually declare my public piece array that I'll just call pieces. And it's going to be a new piece array of 8 by 8, just like that. Now right now I'm getting an error here because piece could not be found, but that's kind of fake because we just created here. So let me just double click on that again. Let's reopen it. And it should actually work fine, as you can tell. Okay, so now we got our pieces array. We need to actually start instantiating some of those. And we need actually we need 12 pieces per player because we have 4 per row and they have 3 rows. The first thing I'll need to do that is an actual reference to which one we're spawning. So white piece prefab and also a public game object for the black piece prefab. Okay, now it's time to actually define how exactly we're going to generate those. So I'll do a private void generate board, which is going to pretty much just create all the pieces one by one. And what I'll do is I'll actually iterate through the piece array, but just only the first 3 rows for the white team and then the last 3 rows for the actual black team. So let me just comment that out. Generate white team. Okay, so at this point we can iterate through our array just fine, and that's totally cool, but we can't really put a piece every single tile we have. We have to put it 2 apart because you have 1 piece and then you have 1 empty and then another piece. So what we do here is a little bit different. We're going to start by iterating on the Y component. Well, it's not really Y, but we're just going to call it Y because it's going to be the one that goes up and down the board instead of going left to right. So for int Y is equal to 0, as long as Y is smaller than 3, then we're going to generate the white team. So Y plus plus here. And now we can iterate through X. So as long as X is smaller than 8, what we'll do here is not actually X plus plus. We're going to do X plus equal 2. So this is where we're going to actually skip 1. Now inside of this for loop, we'll go ahead and we'll just generate our piece. And we'll actually create another method for that. So a private void generate piece, and the parameter we'll send is int X and also int Y. So we can simply say up here, generate piece, and we'll send X and Y. Okay, so let's quickly have a look at this. In the generate piece, we're gonna go ahead and just create that piece doing a instantiate. So I'm going to declare a game object, call it go, is equal to instantiate, and we're gonna actually instantiate. Let's just start by white piece prefab, then we'll have a look at how we can do it for the other team. So that means we're gonna place it because, well, it's the board. Well, we created a total of 12, and that's exactly what we need. So we need 12 of those, which we'll use pretty much at other places as well. So let's actually do piece P as a move piece. Which piece are we moving? This one, and then add the position X and Y. So let's times X. So that's where it should be in X plus vector 3 forward times Y. That should be where it is supposed to be in Y. And then this is where we're gonna actually add an offset. So what kind of offset do we have? I still don't know, so I'll just leave it like that. I'll declare a public vector 3. Oops, public. I still don't know. No, so I'll just leave it like that. I'll declare a public vector 3. Oops, missing a semicolon here. Public vector 3, and I'll call this board offset. And for now, let's just put it on a new vector 3, -4, 0, and then -4 again. And we'll do plus board offset. Alright, sounds like a and we'll do plus. Board offset. Alright, sounds like a great plan actually. Let's actually check it out. Press on play. And what do we have here? We have an error that says object reference is not set. So which one is not set actually? Everything here should be set. The only thing that is not is P, because piece is the one you get in parameters. So why exactly is that not set? I think I know why. It's because we never actually put the piece on top of our prefab. So when it actually creates those prefab, it then tries to fetch the piece component, but there is no piece component. So let's go on the white piece, drag and drop this, same thing for the black piece. And here we go, we now have the piece. Component on those. And okay, we definitely get some kind of weird result, but I mean, we're getting there slowly. So the pieces are going in the right exact place. I mean, this is where they should be, but you should have another offset just bringing him towards the center here like this, and that is simply going to be a 0.5 in X and 0.5 in Y. And the next thing that we'll need to fix is that those can't actually be placed right here. They have to be placed on the green tiles. So we have to check if the row here is odd or if it's even. If it's odd, then we just move it again on the x-axis. So let's go ahead and try this out. We said that we did some other kind of offset, so this one is going to be a public vector3. I'll call this piece offset. And this is going to be new vector3 minus 0. Should it be minus, or let's actually do it positive? 0.5f here. And I feel like just putting those private, so I don't actually see them in my inspector anymore. Right, let's give this a try. And didn't add this to the equation down here, so let me go back. This is now a piece, this is actually plus piece offset as well.
So I just created this dope website with Wix. Let me show you how I did it. First,
and they are right where they should be, except of course the odd row. They are plus piece offset as well. And 0.5f here. And I feel like just putting those private, so I don't actually see them in my inspector anymore. Right, let's give this a try. And didn't add this to the equation down here, so let me go back. This is now a piece, this is actually plus piece offset as well. And they are right where they should be, except of course the odd row that we mentioned. So this should be actually shift toward this side, and then we'll have an actual board here. So how do we go about shifting this? Well, what I felt like doing is actually some kind of modulo sign and just checking if it's on an odd row, and I'll do that right here. So I'll just declare a bool, say odd row is equal to, and then we can use the y that we get from the loop here and say y modulo 2 is equal to 0. And just like that, we actually know if it's an odd row or not. Now, when it comes down to actually sending this x as a parameter, what we'll do is we'll just do a ternary operator right in here because I feel like doing that sometimes. Odd row, so let's just write that down. If it works. So odd row. If it is an odd row, then we're gonna go ahead and just send the normal x. And if it's not an odd row, we'll send x plus 1. Simple like that. Now let's just try to just give them some space so we have a better look. Look here, and that should actually work just fine. Let's actually check it out. And here we go. So that's beautifully placed. However, we still need the black theme, so it's gonna be really simple. We're just gonna be taking all of this, duplicate. This is generate the black theme, and we're gonna reverse few things. So instead of y being equal to 0, y is gonna start on the other side. So y is equal to 7. Since we have an array that is of length 8 and we're 0 base, we start at 7. That's the last row. And then as long as y is bigger than, say, I think it's 4, then we do a y minus minus. The odd row still works. It's the same exact one. Now, this should actually work as well, I believe. Let's actually give this a try. And it works just fine. However, the odd row still works. It's the same exact one. Now, this should actually work as well, I believe. Let's actually give this a try. And it works just fine. However, we're not spawning the right prefab, and that's totally normal. That's because we just tell them, well, spawn this one, right? So what we'll do here is instead of instantiating the white piece prefab, is we'll check bool is white, and let's just say is piece white. And we'll do another ternary operator here. So if y is bigger than 3, then if that's the case, that means we are, if it's bigger than 3, that means we're in the black team, so that's false here, else it is true. And then we can check, okay, so If the piece is white, again, another ternary operator. If it's white, then we spawn the white piece prefab, else the black piece prefab, just like this. And that should actually cover pretty much everything in terms of just spawning those. And it seems to work. Alright guys, so we got our board ready. In the next few episodes, we're going to be actually taking a look on how to move them. Just keep doing the mechanic on its side without really doing any multiplayer just now. We'll just get this working without multiplayer, and then we'll just slowly just implement the server and the client. So guys, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you just want to support me, or you just like to support what I do on the channel, please check out my website. You can download some stuff there as well. You can also check out the Patreon page, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and do all that kind of stuff that just help me spend more time on YouTube. So again, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hey guys, welcome back to the multiplayer checkers tutorial today. We don't do something that is really apparent here. We do the movement of the checkers, but it's not really set. As you can see, we can go back and we can cheat a little bit. But what we really do here is create a function that helps us select the piece and also just move it. There is a lot of stuff that goes into that, as weird as it seems, but that's what we do today, guys. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
Coding your own games is easier than you think. You know, you should take this online Unity course.
Alright, so let's get right into it. We are going to actually have a look at where our cursor is today. So wherever our cursor is, we're gonna get like a representation in a vector too. Say we're putting our cursor right here, that would be the first tile, so 0, 0, and then if we put it here, that would be 7, 7, since we're 0 base. So that's what we're going to do today. We're just going to keep track of where our cursor is at all time. And I'm going to do this in the checkerboard. Now, to keep track of that, I will have a vector2 that I'll call mouse over.